Shalom Aleichem. When we're dealing with the Tkiyot on Rosh Hashanah, we need to learn that there are two types of setting how the Tkiyot should be blown. Normally, in the shuls, they do as Tosfot explains, which means it's a lengthier Tkiyot with a lengthier Shvarim and Teruah. The way we all know that Teruah needs to be the length of 9 sounds, 9 kochot, which we call tumetim, ta 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 ta, 9 of those, and the Shvarim should be of 3 each, ta ta ta, so the Shvarim should be ta ta ta, that's the way it is, and the Tkiyah, which is before the Shvarim and the Teruah and after, should be the length of 9, ta, that is the length. Now, that is the opinion of Tosfot. But Rashi argues on that, and he says that it needs to be the length of 3 sounds, 3 kochot umatin, which means the Teruah should be ta ta ta, the Tkiyah should be the length of that, which means that's all, and not necessary to make more of that. One could make it lengthier, but the Teruah should be ta ta ta, and the nafkamina would be the Shvarim. You can't make it as long as the Tkiyah, because if it's as long as the Tkiyah, then it's not Shvarim anymore, it is considered Tkiyah. Now, this is very important to understand, that this opinion of Rashi is brought down la halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch brings this as the first opinion, and then he quotes the Tosfot opinions. So that is now a dilemma. How do you say that the halacha should be like the Tosfot over Rashi? So the minhag became like that, and many poskim learn that because it says in the Tosfot yesh omrim, and then the second opinion is also yesh omrim, and yesh omrim ve'yesh omrim, yesh halacha keyesh omrim batra. This is how the halacha is according to majority of the poskim, that you go like the second opinion whenever it's yesh omrim ve'yesh omrim. Normally the Shulchan Aruch writes stam ve'yesh omrim, which means he doesn't start the first halacha with coding yesh omrim. It doesn't start it with saying such a thing. Rather, he starts halacha right away what it is, and then he says yesh omrim. So then many learn that the stam, the first opinion, is the primary opinion. But when it's yesh omrim, then we go like the bato. But this is not something that's completely agreed according to everybody. This is how Chacham Ovadia wrote halacha lemaaseh. This is how many did halacha lemaaseh. Or Letzion also is posek like that, but nevertheless, Or Letzion says that since there is an opinion in the Shulchan Aruch like Rashi, you can't ignore that opinion. Shulchan Aruch was not completely going against Rashi's opinion with the opinion of Tosfot, but rather he was leaning towards Tosfot opinion. But Rashi's opinion is still valid, and one needs to try to fulfill Rashi's opinion as well, especially that we're dealing with such an important mitzvah as Tkiyat Shofar. And the Shulchan Aruch himself says that he points that one needs to complete Rashi's opinion and fulfill Rashi's opinion as well, because he does say that if a person makes Shvarim a little bit longer and the Teruah and the Tkiyah a little bit shorter, so then he didn't fulfill the obligation, not according to Rashi and not according to Tosfot, which means you see that he takes into account Rashi. Otherwise, why does he need to deal with Rashi altogether? You see that opinion is a valid opinion. Yad Malachi writes in Klalei HaPoskim, Siman Yud Gimel, he writes that whenever you have yesh omrim ve'yesh omrim, so we need to know that sometimes the Shulchan Aruch writes that halacha keyesh omrim batra. Why the Shulchan Aruch needs to point out that the halacha is like the second opinion? Obviously, that it's not something completely understood without mentioning it. Normally, you have to worry, you have to try to do also like the first opinion, but whenever you can't, so or whenever we completely go like the second opinion, so then the Shulchan Aruch says and points out and emphasizes that the second opinion, that is the halacha. But when he doesn't say that, that shows and indicates that the first opinion still stays still. This is also how the Chidah says in Birkei Yosef Siman Yud Aleph. He writes as well that this rule is not an agreed rule upon everybody. A klal eno muskam, that's how he writes. The Ginat Vradim also says the same thing. Lo michre amilta, Avodat HaGershoni also brings the same thing as well. Pri Magadim writes in the Klalim or he writes a rule. Whenever it's a mitzvah deoraita, one needs to go lechumra and fulfill both opinions. Whenever it's a rabbanan, one could be lenient. And when we're dealing with a tkiyat shofar, especially on the first day, it's a mitzvah deoraita, one needs to make sure to fulfill both opinions, even according to the first Shomrim. This is how the Pri Megadim brings down. By the way, this is how the Or LeTzion is posek la'alacha based on that Pri Megadim. Tzemach Tzedek also says, but he says even more so. He says that the first opinion is the ikar, is the main opinion, even more than the second opinion. So here we go. It's not something that's agreed that the second opinion is ikar. It could be that it's not yet. It's not something that was agreed, and something that's unknown. It's doubtful. Could be that you have to go, like the Pri Megadim says, in the oraita lechumra and fulfill both opinions. It could be that not even that. The first opinion is the most, it's the primary opinion, as the Tzemach Tzedek says. Let us just do the tkiyot of Rashi, so people need to know how it's done. And after the shul is over, the shacharit and musaf is over, people are ready to go home, it's an important thing that the rabbi or the Baal Tokea should blow the shofar. It takes another couple of minutes, and people should be yotzeh that opinion as well as Rashi. This way they fulfill their this requirement according to our opinion. So let's see. According to Rashi, we said that there's requirement to have 3 truot. The tkiyah should be that length as well. So we do tashrat, tashat, tarat. That was tashrat, tashat, tarat.